everything bad with living in a city. Now, guys, this is more geared towards an apocalyptic style living, right? Should something happen in New York or whatever city you live in, these are the things you're going to have to contend with. Now, the one thing that I've been contending with or dealing with since I lived in the city was always garbage and rodents. So this is the garbage here. This is just one pile. Some days it's a lot worse. Other days it's not bad. Actually, garbage is always bad. Who the hell am I kidding? But this area here is where I call Rat City. This place at night is pumping with rats, having rat parties and clubbing and shit like that. These people, excuse me, these rats are running rampant through the city. So the other problem with the apocalypse are the rodents you're gonna have to deal with, mice and rats. These creatures, if you will, carry a ton of disease. And during an apocalyptic event, garbage is going to be out of control, way worse than that. It's going to be in people's homes. It's going to be in building hallways or hallways in buildings, right? So buildings like these right here are going to have rat problems within themselves. Now, obviously this building is close to this rat colony, if you will. So, or rat pack, whatever the hell they call them. They're going to have to contend with a huge problem. Now, the taller building you live in, the less likely you are to have a rat problem or a mouse problem. But it also depends on what issues are happening underneath it, right? If you have a slob of a neighbor, if during the apocalypse your neighbor becomes a bag of shit and starts leaving shit all over the place, starts defecating in the apartment or pissing in the apartment and not cleaning it up because they're like, oh, well, it's the apocalypse, you're going to have problems. Now, the other thing to contend with in this neighborhood, or rather city, are the drug addicts. Now, I saw two drug addicts earlier. I don't know where they disappeared to, but I saw two drug addicts earlier. One was wearing a cap and gown. Doubt very much she graduated from anybody's school, unless she graduated from the school of crackheadery or whoreness. I don't know. But these two are walking around the street. You got to contend with that. Those kind of people stealing from you on a regular basis and or creating a problem on a regular basis. Thieves, criminals, drug addicts, drug dealers, these people are going to spike in their crime. Now, New York City, as it is, crime has gone down, at least according to the reports and from what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing a lot of activity on the street anymore like I used to. A lot of shit is quelled down quite a bit because the cops stepped their game up after, numerous complaints and reports from people that lived in neighborhoods like this. So the other problem, major problem, for those that don't know, well, I think a lot of you know, water. Water is going to be a giant problem in a city like New York. Now, the further away from the ocean you live, the worse the problem is going to be, especially being that a lot of places like in the Midwest don't get a ton of rain. And there are other places that get swamped with rain. New York City gets its fair share of rain. Now, water is always going to be the problem. And when I talked about drug addicts, I was talking about people like this. I think he's taking a bath or drinking water. I don't know what he's doing. Nonetheless, that's the kind of shit you got to contend with, right? Crime, as I said before, is going to skyrocket. Like I said, now it's down, but when all bets are off and the chips are down, shit's going to be on. Shit is going to get out of control in a hurry because there's no one to correct the problem. Cops are undoubtedly going to go home to be with their loved ones or protect their loved ones, just like they did in Louisiana. I know in Louisiana and Katrina, people like the cops left. Of course they left. They went home to be with their families, to go protect them, to make sure they were okay. If there was an apocalyptic hurricane coming to New York City, I would square my family away first, then come to work. I wouldn't stay at work knowing that they could be vulnerable to some shit that's going down. So as you guys can see, I am rucking today. One, because I want to stop being fat. Two, rucking is a great exercise. You can check out some of my videos on the Angry Prepper Fitness channel, which I'm starting up again, or rather getting back to it. So, the other thing you have to contend with, guys, are people who you would have never thought who were your friends, right? So people that you grew up with, people that you know, they can absolutely stab you in the back or turn on you at the drop of a hat. When people are desperate, desperate people do desperate shit, and they don't turn into your friends anymore. They could potentially turn into your enemies. And that is the harder one. That is the harder one to guess or figure out. You got a buddy you grew up with since your childhood, but shit is on. Things are crazy. Food and water is running low. People will become desperate. Even your friends. Hell, even your family. Depends on your family dynamic, though. But trusting people, that is always going to be a situation in the apocalypse. I know movies make it sound a little more glorious, like you could trust a lot of people. You can't trust shit. Hell, even people letting you into their communities won't trust you for a long time, if they even let you in. If you are running your own community, you're going to be suspect of a lot of people and everybody who's coming into your community. And that's if you let them into your community. All right, now comes the hard part. This fucking hill is going to kill me one day, but not today. Anyway, guys, the gist of this video is you got to be careful living in a city. I know a lot of us are looking to move out because that is the easier solution and the best solution, actually. But if you can't move out, there are things that you're just going to have to put in place. You're going to have a security system for your apartment. And not a security system like ADT or what is that? The Ring Bell. Not that shit. You need a security system. You need firearms, a baseball bat, a butcher knife, and a bunch of pliers. And some duct tape, if you know what I mean. That's the kind of security system you're going to have to run. If there are no police officers in the city, you're going to have to be your own police officer. You're going to have to be your own jailer. And in some cases, you might even have to be your own judge and jury. As far as setting up security goes, know the weak points of your home, of your apartment, and fortify that. If you live in a building that can easily burn to the ground, move out, because they will undoubtedly set a fire to smoke you out or burn you out. Now, buildings like this, buildings like they're here are predominantly wood structures. Steel supports, wood floors, wood walls, wood ceilings, with sheetrock in between it. Those buildings are old. Those buildings, whenever there are fires in them, they often, when the fire gets bad, become one of the best fires we can ever go to as firefighters. But as a civilian, it become a death trap. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of people who live outside of the city that will tell you that the city's a death trap. It is. But you can survive the city. You have to know what you're doing. Now, as far as a detailed protocol on how to survive the city, if you're interested, I can do a few-part series on that, because it's not a one and done video. It's one of those things, guys, that can take a couple of episodes to explain how would you navigate and survive the city. The one problem you're going to have that there's no real solution for is water. Food, not so much. Water, it's going to be a problem. Now, there's rain catchment systems that you can put onto your building, whether you have a fire escape or a balcony. You can absolutely catch water during the rain, but you are now at the will of God, right? So you have to have rain happen to collect that water. You can also do distillation as well with salt water out of the river, but that's a long, drawn-out process. So you have to weigh your options. That's why they say the best thing to do is leave the city. But if you can't, or you're a hardcore city and you're going to stay, then those are your options. But again, there's more options we can also entertain as far where you can explore in the city to find water. That's an endeavor in itself. Don't get me wrong, but you can find some drinking water throughout the city. But anyway, guys, other than that, I just wanted this to be a quick video on living in the city and the shit we are currently dealing with that's going to multiply times 1,000 when the apocalypse hits. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching.